Serious, when was a time you legitimately thought you were going to die? 5,102,019 rear-ended by a dump truck. In a coma for 42 days and am now paralyzed. So sorry to hear this, how are you? T2 T3 vertebra break, cord crushed but not severed. Can't walk but never say never. I have a great support system, so I'd say I'm lucky. What is it like being in a coma? I'm sure a ton of people have already asked you this, but I'm curious to know what you experienced. If you've had anesthesia, that's how it was for me. Woke up 3 weeks later and wondered why it was dark, night, when I remember it being morning when I fell into the coma. The time loss stuck with me. But some people can hear and feel from what I've heard. Edit, it was due to a seizure. I fell face first onto concrete from a standing position. 4 facial fractures and the cartilage tore away from my nose. Then there was, of course, the fact my face hit the concrete. I was feeding my dog in the morning, so, yeah, time loss fucked me the most. Edit 2. I'm not sure how gold or platinum works, but to those messaging me saying they wish they could give me those, I simply replied since many seemed interested but I saw nobody answer. Please don't spend any money on my comment. I'd prefer it go to someone deserving. Edit 3. I have tried to answer any and all questions I could. If I missed someone, please forgive me. However, it's been 34 hours since I slept, it's 6:52 a.m. and I will attempt to take a few hour nap. I will continue to answer any incoming questions when I wake up since, I hope, it won't happen to that many people and I know people are very interested or want to share. I'll continue answering after a cuddle session and a nap with my doggies. Thank you for your interest. Edit 4. Forgot to nap. We'll do that now, see you all soon. When I woke up from anesthesia I got an "am I still here?" feeling when I woke up still at the hospital. It's kind of like I felt as though I'd been gone for weeks, left the hospital and lived life, but I hadn't. So for me it was kind of the opposite. 3 weeks felt like an hour. That's what messed me up. Waking at night time when it was day. When I had migraine with aura for the first time. I didn't even know this was a thing. But it started with the worst migraine I ever had, followed by me losing my sight and becoming dizzy and feeling sick. I thought this was it. I told my sister that I thought I was gonna die. She told me she has those migraines too, brought me a pill specifically for these migraines and told me to sleep. She stayed with me until I woke up just to be sure. Scary as hell. Some dick pulled a revolver on me while at a party. Turns out it was one of those decommissioned ones with a cemented barrel and cylinder, but I didn't know at the time and it was ducking scary. What a dumbass. That's a good way to get shot. Hit a stopped car going over 65 miles per hour. Spent 2 years in a wheelchair, 6 months of that was learning to walk again. Honestly thought I was going to die in the seconds before impact. I can still clearly see the people in the other car, the other traffic around us. Car was stopped to turn on a highway with no middle turning lane. I was the only one injured though, and I'm still sort of grateful for that because I swear there was a kid in the backseat of the other car. I wasn't the driver, front seat passenger of a reckless driver. Wow. That's amazing, hope you're back to full health. It almost sounds like you did die in a way. In a way I did. Between the time of the wreck and being able to fully walk without support I lost a job, a husband, he was a shithead so I'm not sorry, a house, a dog and all of my friends. I still don't have many friends but I'm okay with that. Life has been hard but without the shit I've been able to withstand in the past, I can honestly say I wouldn't still be here. Good or bad, I'm still standing and they didn't manage to kill me or my hope for the future. Your story is really inspiring. Thank you for sharing. I don't think I am, but Ty. Some days are more of a struggle than others, and honestly the wreck isn't even the worst that's happened to me. Everyone in life has their own struggle, and I feel like mine's no better or worse than anyone else's, but if it inspires even one person to keep going, I'll consider it worth it in the end. Summer of 2015, after I had a 6-hour surgery to remove a tumor. When I woke up and they took the mask off of me, I was in so much pain and felt like I couldn't breathe. I was on vacation this past summer, was staying at a friend's house, when I started to notice my chest feeling tight. I started to get a fever and feel sick. I threw up and the feeling in my chest started to expand. It felt like it was going to explode, like a balloon bind inflated inside me. I couldn't stand it. I literally felt like at any moment my heart would give out or my chest would explode. Went to the emergency, turns out I had a really bad gallbladder attack. But on the drive to the hospital I was telling my wife how much I love her lol and that if she remarries don't let it be anyone we currently know ha ha ha. I was really sick when I was 12. Missed a whole semester of school. I was throwing up every day and had no energy. Doctors couldn't figure it out. Had test after test, visited specialist after specialist and nothing. All we did know is my liver wasn't functioning, I was pretty jaundiced, I was pretty sure I would die before we knew what was wrong. It's hard to explain but I came to terms with it. Like I was more comfortable with death as a concept when I was 12 than I am now at 25. Turns out it was my gallbladder. They had checked it for gallstones early on but that wasn't the issue. My particular malfunction didn't show up on an ultrasound. The bile duct into my stomach didn't form correctly from birth and it was hindering complete bile drainage leading to sepsis in my gallbladder liver. 1 surgery and 2 weeks bed rest and I was back to normal. Edit, well golly. To answer the most common questions, I got referred to a pediatric gastroenterologist who decided to order the HETA scan you are all referencing. The barium milkshake thing you have to drink is absolutely disgusting, that indeed caught it. Why my local physicians didn't order one is beyond me, I am not a doctor and was 12. I do know that one doctor didn't even want to ultrasound for gallstones because I was too young to have gallstones. That's crazy. If Therese, one thing I've always appreciated about biology, it's how delicate everything is, and how one thing not working properly, even the most minor thing, can literally destroy you. Glad you got it figured out. How a single tiny thing can kill you is my least favorite thing about biology. I woke up in the morning to get ready for work, bent to tie my shoe, and when I stood back up the sight in my right eye was entirely gone. I did the usual thing of blinking and shaking my head a little, thinking maybe blood rushed to my head weird or whatever, but it wouldn't come back. I tried to explain to my partner that I was in trouble, but when I spoke the wrong words kept coming out. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I definitely said tree instead of hospital at one point. I figured I was having a stroke or an aneurysm had ruptured, or something brain tumory, who knows. Whatever the case, I spent the entire ride to the hospital crying and telling my partner over and over that I loved him. It felt like I couldn't say it enough. Turns out I was preparing for my first migraine, cluster headaches, I do not recommend them, and the migraine aura I get is blindness and aphasia because I'm a lucky girl like that I guess. My 3rd round with double pneumonia. Put into isolation on round-the-clock oxygen. There's just something about such severe oxygen deprivation that you get dizzy and hack up a lung just crossing a room to pick up a book that makes you certain the end is coming. My lungs shut down during chemo, allergy to one of the chemo drugs, and, yeah, not being able to breathe or catch your breath is terrifying, even when your care is amazing like mine was in ICU. My lung capacity is reduced quite a bit since, but I can exercise still, so I consider myself lucky. Very recently I had some kind of super fast virus or illness. Not sure what it was, but it basically started off with me feeling an incredible sense of impending doom. Which I know is a sign for panic attacks. But I don't get panic attacks, and that feeling lasted until I started getting cold. Usually I'm way too warm, but this time I had to bundle up, that didn't work, and even getting into bed didn't help. I started shivering so hard my muscles began to tighten and it was so painful I had to jump into the shower to stop it. But before I could get in I started getting lightheaded and had to lie down on the floor. It was like everything was spinning. And then I had the urge to shit and puke at the same time. Not being able to think clearly, I get into the tub in an attempt to do both just in case. At that moment I couldn't stand or coordinate properly, shivering, lightheaded, about to shit and puke. I thought to myself, I must be about to die and this is how I'll be found. I ended puking first, felt better enough to shit in proper place and then showered to stop the shivering. After all of that it was like nothing happened and I was better again. I had a flu come on like that once. It felt like a really bad panic attack and I was confused because I hadn't had one even close to that bad in years. I was nauseous and shivering and hyperventilating and couldn't think straight, and I was still baffled at why I couldn't calm down. I finally just took some nausea medication and went to sleep. It wasn't until the next morning when I woke still feeling like garbage for me to realize I was actually physically sick.